Happy Independence Day Eve. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop, and we've got a couple of things to tackle. As a programming note, we're off Friday. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, Independence Day, and hopefully you get a chance to celebrate it, take in some fireworks or not, and just declare your independence. House floor still hot and heavy. The big, beautiful bill in Washington, D.C. still being debated. And Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader on the House floor at this moment, still talking. He's been going on for, like an hour, 2 hours or so? Let's hear some of what he has to say here live.
Proud mother and daughter of hardworking Missourians. Susie apparently has voted for both Democrats and Republicans, and her husband is a registered Republican. But as farmers, they both believe that access to health care should never be a partisan issue.
So that's going to be a story that's popping throughout the day today. And we'll obviously, see what we can clean up on when we come back on Monday, because it's fully anticipated that the U.S. House will vote on this later today after Republicans lined up enough Republican votes to support it, and Democrats opposing it, claiming that people, as we heard Governor J.B. Pritzker earlier this week say, will die. So that's going to be a big story over the Independence Day holiday weekend, as the president could get this on his desk and sign it on Independence Day. And it'll have a whole host of things in there from, the tax cuts from 2017, keeping those in place, to no tax on tips, to no tax on Social Security, and a whole bunch of other provisions. There's going to be state and local tax deduction issues in there. You've got reductions in spending over time for certain types of welfare programs, with the focus that Republicans say is on work requirements and getting people off of having to have government assistance. Democrats pushing back and saying that's going to lead to millions of people losing their access to health care across the country. It's also going to, as they say, lead to fewer food benefits and other types of subsidies. So you've got the spending hawks that say this doesn't do enough to cut. So a big bill. A lot in there. The debate is going to be continuing on throughout the rest of the day today until they get to a vote. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about the lieutenant governor candidate Governor J.B. Pritzker chose. They showed up yesterday for their first campaign stop at a restaurant in Chicago. But we also got to talk about fireworks in Illinois, especially it being the day before Independence Day, and that annual pilgrimage to other states from Illinoisans to go pick up fireworks and bring them back into Illinois. That continues. One of my reporters, Glenn Menace, a contributor for the Center Square, talked to fireworks stands in Iowa and in Indiana. So from both sides of the state, it's pretty remarkable to hear just how many people from Illinois visit. So we'll tackle that as well. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning as we bring you the latest you need to know to get your day started in the land of Lincoln. guys from Chicago looking to take over and continue Governor J.B. Pritzker's administration. And the question is, will they represent the entire state or just Chicago interests? Welcome back, Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Next 18 months are going to be pretty incredible when it comes to heading into the midterm elections in 2026, especially as we've got a governor in Illinois seeking a third term for governor, putting him in position as to having, highest elected office in a state that is the 7th largest state in the country. And when you start comparing economies around the world, is pretty high up there. So Governor J.B. Pritzker announced last week he's running for a third term, but his lieutenant governor, Juliana Stratton, is not going to be on that ticket. She's trying to get that U.S. Senate seat being vacated by Dick Durbin, who said he's not running again. So earlier this week, Christian Mitchell was announced as Pritzker's running mate for the 2026 election. Illinois in Focus Daily, get the headlines in your inbox each and every weekday morning by signing up for the newsletter at thecentersquare.com. Again, thecentersquare.com. You can also get this podcast anywhere you get podcasts. Just search Illinois in Focus, but wake up with us in the live chat. And you can have some good conversation with people there as well. So let's get into this. Yesterday, Governor J.B. Pritzker and his lieutenant governor running mates showed up to a restaurant in Chicago. Here's the governor and Christian Mitchell getting out of their motorcade, walking down the street, shaking hands with supporters.
Hey, this young man want to take a picture. Where is he? Here, come on. How you doing, sir? Good to see you.
Peach's Restaurant in Chicago. I've never been there.
How you doing? Oh my gosh, look at you all. You're awesome. Good to see you.
But I just want to say hello.
Good to see you.
And we're standing by you.
I appreciate you.
This is my daycare parade.
Thank you. I love it. When I say rep, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much. Okay. What's your name?
Can I give you a hug? Yeah, thank you. You got a lot to do.
Look out for us.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye.
So again, Governor J.B. Pritzker and Christian Mitchell there arriving to a restaurant in Chicago, greeting supporters. They then held a news conference. Well, let's just call it a press gaggle. That's whenever you get a bunch of members of the press around and they ask questions. Only got audio from this, no video, but our reporter Jim Talamonte in Chicago able to be there and to ask some questions as well. But one of the questions posed early on in the Q&A with the two, governor and lieutenant governor candidate, they're both from Chicago. How are they going to represent the entirety of the state?
As we have all along. So Christian and I have worked together, as you know, for a number of years already, and he was a state representative. When you're a state rep, you don't just represent the people of your district. You also are voting on things that are good for people all across the state. And then as governor and working with my deputy governor, we have passed bills that have been highly beneficial to job creation, expansion of healthcare, funding of education for people who live in, whether it's Anna, Carbondale, or Quincy or Champaign. Everywhere in the state of Illinois, we have worked hard to lift people up. We're going to continue to do that as a team.
Listen, as the governor says, when you are a state representative, the state and your title matters, and I've been proud to represent the entire state. My first hearing, when I was chair of the Committee on Economic Opportunity, was in Carbondale to talk about the impact of higher education cuts in the previous administration on those towns. I plan to go everywhere, be everywhere, meet people where they are, on the town stoop, in a tavern, at a bar, at a coffee shop. I'm willing to go anywhere because my goal is going to be to represent all of Illinois as your next lieutenant governor.
Christian, the governor said in this campaign, in the introductory video, that you've driven big pieces of legislation. Can you be the guy to finally drive through some real ethics reform for us?
Listen, when we passed the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act, we led with ethics. The governor said ethics was his first principle. And so we worked to make sure that how energy legislation was done, instead of being done in the conference room of our largest energy provider, was done in the light of day in large working groups. We made sure that we ended the formula rates that ultimately ended up getting a lot of people in legal trouble. This is a governor who cares deeply about leading with ethics. As his lieutenant governor, I will do the same.
Governor Juliana Stratton.
We got, again, the governor and lieutenant governor candidate there talking about how they're going to represent the entirety of the state, talking about how ethics are going to, how are they going to usher in substantive ethics reforms. But even when the governor's been asked that question, very similar to what Mitchell talked about there, how they put a lot of ethics into the Clean Energy Jobs Act and making sure that, the decisions are being made out in the open instead of behind closed doors in big energy corporate boards. But, the ethics that I think maybe Jim may be referring to more deal with the ethics of legislators, for instance, like especially with the cloud of the Mike Madigan saga, the longest serving state house speaker in Illinois history, and I think the nation's history. Madigan was in the state house for 50 years. He served as speaker for 1983 to 2021, except for 2 years when Republicans somehow took over the majority in the Illinois House, but only for 2 years. Madigan was also the Democrat Party chair for 20 plus years, having that nexus of power of controlling the party purse and giving money to candidates while also controlling the legislation that they have at the state house. That's an immense amount of power in the state of Illinois. But Madigan found guilty on 10 corruption charges earlier this year. He's going to be facing 7.5 years in prison and $2.5 million fine. So that cloud of corruption, what are legislators and to the governor and lieutenant governor candidate going to do to usher in things that at least Republicans in the minority say are going to help clean things up? Now, Mitchell obviously is somebody who climbed the ranks of the Democratic Party as a state rep, I think he was executive director of the Democratic Party of Illinois alongside Mike Madigan in his final years there as the DPI chairman. You've got him being a part of the governor's administration as a deputy governor and so on. So, how do they change the Democratic brand in Illinois? Yes, they're the supermajority, but you can walk down the street and talk with people and they'll say, yeah, Illinois is corrupt. So how do you tackle that? It's a question they're going to have to be asked all throughout this election season. But to the issue of Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton and the politics of campaign money, she's running as a Democrat in the primary for U.S. Senate, the seat being vacated by Dick Durbin. But there's several other people jumping into that race, including Raja Krishnamurthy, U.S. Rep. And right now, the funding disparity in political funding is a little lopsided. Juliana Stratton only getting like $1 million over like 9 weeks or so. You've got Krishnamurthy saying he's got a lot of money on hand, more so than Stratton. The question was posed to billionaire Pritzker. Are you going to have to step up and help with Stratton's campaign funding?
Travel together with her.
Look, she only announced her candidacy 9 weeks before the deadline for reporting finances. And you have to remember that Juliana has not had to raise money as lieutenant governor for me. And so she's running against people who have raised money for the last number of years. So she's had to build up lists and work on creating a finance operation that no one else had to do. And to raise $1 million in 9 weeks is very impressive. And there are a whole lot of people who have already expressed that they're interested in giving to her going forward. So I think she's going to do very, very well.
Will she have as much as Raja when it's all said and done?
She doesn't need to have as much as anyone else in the race. Honestly, she is somebody that people all across the state know and admire. You've got to raise enough money in order to be a candidate for statewide office, but you don't need tens of millions of dollars to get the job done.
Governor, in Chicago, we're looking at this transit.
Again, the politics of campaign financing is going to be watched closely. Governor Pritzker himself, he's given $200+ million to his campaign over the span since he ran for office in 2018, took office in 2019 as governor. So yeah, he's got a lot of money to spend. Is he going to be giving that to the Democratic Party, and then they're going to be distributing that to various candidates? Obviously, with the primary, the party establishment doesn't necessarily get involved, but once the primary's over and the candidate's picked for the Democrat nomination or even the Republican nomination, there could be some assistance there. So regardless, it's going to be a lot to watch, and we'll be doing what we can here with Illinois in Focus daily to keep you posted. All right, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning as we break down the headlines for you, but you can get them in your inbox as well. Go to thecentersquare.com. And listen, it's not just Illinois. We've got a team over in Washington, D.C. watching what's happening right now. now with Hakeem Jeffries on the House floor still. Talking about the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, and a lot of reaction to what's going on with that from members of Congress from Illinois. So we may take a look at that as we close things out here. But it is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning. Program note, I'm off tomorrow. It's Independence Day. Declaring my independence from doing the show for at least one day. Growing up in the St. Louis suburbs, every Independence Day was always a fun time. We'd go to the fireworks stand right down the street and buy some cheap fireworks, and then everybody in the neighborhood would get into their driveway on Independence Day and light off bottle rockets and Roman candles and all kinds of things. It was formative moments in my life. Then, as a teenager, as moving to Illinois, quickly realizing the difference between states. Illinois didn't allow for things like bottle rockets or Roman candles, or the things that go real high in the air and make beautiful displays. Illinois does not allow those types of fireworks, but practically every other state around us does, and they are getting the tax resources from Illinoisans fleeing to the neighboring state to pick up fireworks and then come back to Illinois. But it is illegal in Illinois, and you could face some fines and possible jail time if you're found to have unsanctioned fireworks that aren't licensed. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. Happy Independence Day Eve. And with the Independence Day celebration, as with other celebrations, including like New Year's Day, you get the big fireworks displays. No question, right? Municipalities pull their resources together. Community groups pull their resources together to buy fireworks. They go and get with a fire marshal. They get the certification. They get the experts and the pros together. They buy those big artillery shells and they blast them into the sky, and people can get together at a park and watch and enjoy. But sometimes you go out into more rural areas and you've got people out in their property having their own private fireworks display. They may not have those certifications and such in the state of Illinois, but still you have a lot of people going across state lines to go get fireworks from places like Indiana and Iowa and Missouri and Kentucky, and so on. So one of our reporters with the Center Square, contributor Glenn Minnis, he reached out to a fireworks stand in Iowa and also in Indiana, and this is some of what they had to say. So here we've got one of the managers of Dynamite Fireworks, and this is in Indiana, and I'll pull this up so you can see the website. Uncle Sam's Dynamite Fireworks, as seen on all these incredible TV shows and TV networks. Here is Randy Zambo. She is a manager of Dynamite Fireworks, talking about how much business they get from the state of Illinois and Chicago in particular.
How much traffic? I would say 80% of our clientele is from Chicago.
80%. So in the conversation she had with Glenn, they talked about what exactly they're buying when they come from Illinois to Indiana.
They typically, they want either the big loud stuff, they want the items that make a statement, they want the stuff that goes up, does a nice show in the air. I think they just want to put on a nice show and celebrate our country, or celebrate to celebrate. The big things are called artillery shells. I don't know if you know what that is, but a big seller is artillery shells, Roman candles, and then something called cakes, which are repeating fireworks that do the balls of color that go into the air with the explosion and the boom.
So a lot of different fireworks. Obviously, these are the things that you can't get in Illinois, but you can cross the border, pick it up, and test the legal system if you want. But at least when it comes to Dynamite Fireworks, they say they've been around for a long time.
And we've been around for years. I think that's part of our popularity. And we've been around, we've been here for like 40 years. So we're kind of the anchor of the firework world, if you will. And I think we are a family-run store who make our customers also feel like family. We remember them by name, and we really kind of take care of them. But, you know, a lot of them have been coming here for 20, 30 years.
She also talked about how they have a lot of clientele from Chicago, but they have a lot of employees from Chicago.
I would say 90% of our employees are from Chicago. Everyone's from Chicago.
Now, again, Illinois law prohibits a lot of these types of fireworks. I think you can get some snakes. Might be able to get some sparklers. Maybe those little tanks that go... but when it comes to the big stuff, right, those artillery shells, those things that blast off, 100 feet in the air and give a beautiful display, those are the types of things that you cannot get in Illinois. And having possession of them can lead to some penalties. Randy kind of knows that, but thinks that there's an understanding about how this works during Independence Day.
It's still against the law. However, I think police understand that it is going to happen, and they're going to fight the fights they need to fight, and they do give a window of opportunity for citizens of Illinois to have fun and celebrate in a safe way. So as long as they're not doing anything to get themselves or other people into trouble, I think they allow it for a window of time.
So again, that's Randy Zambo from Dynamite Fireworks in Indiana. Glenn Menace also talked with Justin Bartlett in Iowa. The store's called Crossroads in Bettendorf. And they also see a lot of traffic coming from Illinois. Not as much as from Chicago, but Bartlett says, yeah, they see a lot of Illinois license plates.
Not that much from Chicago. We get more from like the Illinois side of the Quad Cities, but we get some from Chicago, from the Chicago Metro.
And what are they getting? Well, obviously the big stuff.
They're usually, if they come this far, they have to be pretty motivated. So they're usually buying quite a bit. They're usually buying more of our bigger stuff to try to put together a show. If you're going to drive, a couple hours to get fireworks, then they're not coming for just little stuff usually.
And a lot of the times, the strong sales are coming from those who are on the border of Illinois and Iowa.
Since our first year, we opened in 2018, and we saw it start the first year, and it increased, especially during COVID. But it's been pretty strong since the start.
Pretty strong since the start. Any advertising that they've been doing in Illinois at all?
Our pricing is so much lower than what you're going to see like on the Indiana side. So we draw some people that way just to see it. Our website has our pricing on it, so people see that. We've got a Facebook page where we do some videos, but we haven't done like advertising into the Chicago area in terms of like paid advertising or anything. But people find us through our Facebook page and through our website.
I was just visiting a relative's property in rural Missouri, and it took me just underneath the Quad Cities to cross the river. And literally right when I crossed the river, there were 3 gas stations with cheap gas, and this is into Missouri. And then, smoke shops with cheap smokes. And then literally half a mile, there's multiple fireworks stands right next to the border. Illinois surrounded by states that have legal fireworks, while Illinois doesn't. And Justin from Crossroads in Iowa talked about how, it's up to, Illinois residents what they want their representatives to do.
Well, I think your government's the Illinois government's pretty dysfunctional in a lot of ways. I think that's one of them. I'll leave that for the people of Illinois to decide what they want their representatives to do.
Well, there's been efforts to try to legalize some fireworks in the state of Illinois. There's been estimates that the state could have $15 million of tax revenue if they legalized and taxed it properly. But that money's going to other states, and other states are selling fireworks to people with Illinois license plates. And it's just kind of the way it goes around Independence Day. So hopefully you are going to celebrate safely for Independence Day. Tomorrow is July 4th, the 249th birthday of the United States of America. Tomorrow is going to be the big, or next year rather, is going to be the big 250. So we'll see all of the planning and preparation for that across the country I think it's also going to be like, what, the 100th anniversary of the Mother Road, Route 66? So there's a lot. There's a lot that's going to be happening next year. I'm Greg Bishop. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell here with The Center Square on YouTube, and get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com. What's the house looking like right now? Hakeem Jeffries still...
As nearly 22% of Hispanic families
talking.
rely on this critical program as a temporary safety net during difficult times. And then this letter concludes, written to you, Mr. Speaker.
And he's continuing on there. By the way, something else that I think we needed to bring up here in Chicago overnight. You've got 18 people shot, 4 killed in a drive-by late Wednesday, according to WGN, and tons of other reporting as well, where you've got even video evidence being shared around of the shooting incident happening, at least the audio of the multiple shots fired. And you got a lot of people wounded, 3 killed at least, maybe 4. So 4 dead, according to other reports. There will be some fallout from this, clearly, and those who lost their lives, going to be a hard day for their families, no question. But that's clearly going to be, especially heading into the holiday weekend. What else is going to transpire this holiday weekend in Chicago? So maybe Monday morning we'll wake up and take a look at all of that. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Again, programming note, I am off tomorrow, so there won't be a live show, but do get the podcast, Illinois in Focus Weekend Edition. Myself, Jim Talamonte, will have conversations about all of the news from the week. I'm sure a lot of focus on the big, beautiful bill, and a lot of focus on Governor Pritzker and his lieutenant governor pick, and so much more. But that's the weekend edition, so you'll get that over the holiday weekend. Then we'll be back live here Monday morning. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Follow me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air. But be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell here with The Center Square to get the latest and get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com.